The morning sun spills softly through the window. The air feels calm, the kind that makes you want to move slowly. You stretch a little, feeling the pull in your back, the stiffness in your legs. It's familiar, isn't it? That quiet reminder from your body saying, "Hey, I'm still here." For many of us, bending down to tie a shoe or pick up a cup has become a small challenge. The lower back whispers its limits, and the legs feel a little heavier than before. But what if we could change that story, one gentle move at a time? Today, we're talking about the knee-to-toe bend. It's not about touching your toes perfectly or proving your strength. It's about rediscovering the easy rhythm of movement. The way your breath flows when you bend. The way your muscles remember how to stretch with kindness. This is a story about care, about listening to your body and giving it what it needs. So take a deep breath. Let your shoulders relax. Let's begin this small journey together, slow, steady, and safe. Because your body still remembers how to move with grace. It's just waiting for you to listen. George wakes up early every morning. The sound of birds outside his window is his favorite kind of alarm. He sits up slowly, rubbing his knees, feeling the familiar stiffness in his back. For a moment, he stays still. He listens to his breath, the quiet rhythm that reminds him he's still strong. George used to love working in his garden. He would bend down easily, pull weeds, plant seeds, and lift flower pots. But now, every bend feels like a negotiation with his body. His hamstrings tighten, his back resists, and his balance feels uncertain. He often wonders when those movements became so heavy. The truth is, our bodies change quietly over time. We don't notice the small moments when flexibility leaves. When we start bending less, stretching less, trusting movement less. Our bodies start whispering before they shout. They send tiny messages, stiffness in the morning, a dull ache at night. These are not signs of weakness. They are reminders, gentle ones asking for care and attention. The body always speaks, but we rarely pause to listen. George began to notice this during one quiet morning in his kitchen. He dropped a spoon, and instead of bending down right away, he hesitated. He looked at it on the floor, feeling a strange distance between thought and action. That simple moment made him realize how much he missed ease. He didn't want to accept that stiffness as his new normal. So he decided to listen. He began to move again, not with force but with curiosity. He wanted to learn what his body was trying to say. And slowly, he began to understand the silent conversation inside him. When he bent his knees slightly, his lower back felt supported. When he straightened too quickly, his hamstrings tugged in protest. When he breathed deeply, his spine seemed to lengthen and soften. He started to see that his body wasn't failing him. It was simply waiting for him to move with kindness. Every stretch, every breath became a form of communication, a way to rebuild trust between his mind and muscles. And as he learned to move with awareness, something beautiful happened. The tension began to fade. The fear of movement grew smaller. The connection between breath and motion grew stronger. It wasn't about youth or strength anymore. It was about harmony, the body and mind speaking the same quiet language. You see, the hamstrings and lower back are like old friends. They support each other, depend on each other. When one tightens, the other feels the strain. When both relax, balance returns. George didn't need complicated workouts or long routines. He just needed to listen, to bend slowly, breathe deeply, and respect what his body could do today. That's the first lesson in every movement, awareness. Before we stretch, we listen. Before we push, we pause. That's where healing begins, not in the motion itself, but in the moment we decide to move with care. So take a breath. Feel your body. It's been talking to you all along. George sits by the window again the next morning. The light feels softer today, almost like a quiet companion. He moves his legs slowly, noticing the tight pull behind his knees. He's curious now, not frustrated. He wants to understand what's happening beneath his skin. Our muscles carry memories, just like our minds. The hamstrings, those long strands behind the thighs, tell stories of every step we've taken. They've lifted us, balanced us, and held us steady through years of walking and bending. But they also hold tension, old habits, long hours of sitting, and the weight of time itself. When they shorten, they pull on the hips and spine. The lower back takes the strain, trying to keep us upright. That's when the stiffness begins. That's when the back whispers its quiet protest. George had never thought of his muscles as part of a team before. He always saw pain as an enemy, not a message. But now he imagines his hamstrings and lower back like two friends holding a rope. If one pulls too hard, the other must resist. Balance is what keeps them both at peace. He stands slowly, feeling his feet press into the floor. He bends his knees just a little, feeling the stretch behind his legs. The pull is gentle, not sharp. His spine feels more aligned, less tense. He breathes deeply, and with each exhale, his body seems to understand. The tension softens. The movement feels a little freer. It's not about touching his toes anymore. It's about finding the place where his body says, "Yes, this feels right." That's what the hamstrings teach, patience and presence. They remind us that flexibility isn't about distance. It's about awareness. The lower back, too, has its lessons. It carries the center of every motion, every breath. When it's tight, the world feels heavier. When it's open, everything flows with ease. George imagines his spine as a line of light, connecting his head to his heels. Each vertebra supports the next, creating harmony from the base upward. He bends slightly forward again, careful, mindful. He feels how his back muscles engage, how his hamstrings lengthen. It's not pain he feels now, but communication. It's his body saying, "Thank you for listening." He smiles, realizing something simple but profound. His body has never stopped trying to help him move well. It only needed him to slow down and pay attention. The human body is built for balance. Every muscle supports another. Every movement creates connection. And when we learn how these parts work together, we stop fighting against ourselves. We start to move with understanding. George straightens up and exhales softly. The stiffness isn't gone, but it's gentler now. The tightness feels less like a wall and more like a door beginning to open. For the first time in years, he feels hopeful. Because now he knows his back and his legs are not his limits. They are his guides. They are teaching him how to move with care again. The day feels gentle, like it's inviting George to slow down. He moves a chair into the middle of his living room. The morning light spills across the floor, warm and kind. He takes a deep breath and sits down. He's learned that preparation isn't about stretching first. It's about listening first. He closes his eyes and lets his breath find its rhythm. In through the nose, out through the mouth. The air feels steady, like waves touching the shore. He can feel his spine lengthen just by breathing deeply. His shoulders begin to drop, releasing quiet tension he didn't notice before. The room feels still, and in that stillness, his body begins to speak. Preparation is a conversation. It's the moment when the mind and body reconnect. George remembers how he used to rush everything. He would bend too quickly, twist without thinking, push when his body resisted. But now, he understands that slowing down is not weakness. It's awareness. He stands, keeping one hand on the back of the chair. He lets his knees soften slightly, feeling the strength in his legs. He rolls his shoulders gently backward. Each small motion feels like a quiet thank you to his body. He breathes again, counting slowly to 4. The air moves through him, calming his thoughts. He begins to feel grounded, safe, balanced. There's no hurry here. No competition. Just curiosity. He remembers something his granddaughter once said during a yoga class. She told him, "Grandpa, it's not about touching your toes, it's about touching your breath." He smiles now, repeating those words in his mind. Every inhale opens space inside him. Every exhale softens what feels tight. This is how he prepares, not with effort but with care. He imagines his body as a calm lake, every breath creating small ripples of ease. He adjusts his stance slightly, making sure both feet are flat on the floor. He feels the weight balanced evenly between them. He can sense his heart beating slower. He realizes how rare it is to simply pause and feel alive. Sometimes we forget that stillness is part of movement too. Without calm, motion becomes strain. With calm, it becomes flow. George keeps breathing, eyes still closed, and notices how light he feels. The stiffness is there, but it's quieter now. His body trusts him again, and he trusts it back. He opens his eyes slowly. The world looks softer. The light on the floor feels like an invitation to begin. He whispers to himself, "Easy does it." And in that simple moment, he understands the truth of preparation. It isn't about warming the muscles. It's about warming the heart. It's about remembering that before every movement, there must be peace. Because only a calm body can move with grace. Only a calm mind can lead it there. George stands behind the chair, his fingers resting lightly on the backrest. The room feels peaceful, his breath steady and calm. He remembers not to rush. This is not a test. It's an invitation to move with kindness. He spreads his feet shoulder-width apart, grounding himself. His toes press gently into the floor, feeling the surface beneath him. He inhales slowly, letting the air lift his chest. As he exhales, his shoulders soften, releasing the weight of habit. "Let's begin," he whispers to himself. He bends his knees slightly, just enough to feel his thighs engage. His spine stays long steady, like a tree rooted yet reaching upward. He feels the pull in the back of his legs, gentle and awakening. The muscles stretch, not in pain but in quiet conversation. He pauses there, breathing deeply, letting his body find balance. Then slowly, he begins to straighten his knees again. His back stays neutral, his gaze forward. Every movement feels smooth, guided by breath, not effort. He exhales again, letting his body fold slightly at the hips. He reaches toward his toes, not forcing, just following the motion. His hands rest where they can, maybe on his knees, maybe lower. There is no goal, no need to go further than comfort allows. He notices how his hamstrings stretch with each breath. They feel tight but alive, as if remembering their purpose. His lower back releases, the tension melting away slowly. He stays there for a moment, breathing gently. With each exhale, he feels a wave of ease move through him. He smiles faintly, realizing how simple this can be. Movement without strain, effort without pain, grace without pressure. After a few breaths, he begins to rise again. His knees bend slightly, his back straightens. He returns to standing tall, steady and calm. He feels warmth spread through his legs, his back light and open. He takes another slow inhale, then repeats the motion, bending softly, flowing with the breath. Each repetition feels smoother, easier, more connected. His body and mind begin to move as one rhythm. He can hear the quiet whisper of his breath guiding each step. This is what he's been missing, the simple joy of moving well. No heavy lifting, no strain, just presence. He realizes the knee-to-toe bend isn't only about flexibility. It's about balance, breath, and self-trust. Each bend is a reminder that he can still move with grace, that his body, though older, still remembers how to flow. He finishes the last bend and stands tall once more. He rolls his shoulders gently, feeling the calm hum in his spine. The air feels lighter now, the room brighter. He places a hand on his heart and smiles. His body feels awake, thankful, and at peace. It's not about reaching his toes. It's about reaching understanding. And in this moment, he knows he's found it. George sits back down, breathing softly, his body warm from the gentle bends. The air feels different now, lighter, clearer, full of quiet energy. He smiles to himself, realizing how small movements can create such peace. It's not just about the stretch, he thinks. It's about what happens inside while you move. His legs feel more alive, his back less guarded. But deeper than that, something in him feels restored. He remembers how he used to avoid bending, afraid it might hurt. He would leave things on the floor, waiting for someone else to pick them up. Each avoidance became a small surrender. But now, as he breathes and bends with care, he feels something returning. Confidence, not the kind that comes from strength or speed, but the kind that grows quietly from trust. He begins to notice how each motion connects to life itself. The way bending teaches humility. The way rising teaches resilience. He realizes movement is more than exercise. It's a form of gratitude. When he bends toward his toes, he feels closer to the earth. When he stands tall again, he feels closer to the sky. It's a rhythm, a dance, something ancient that never truly leaves us. He remembers his garden and the flowers waiting outside. He imagines himself kneeling again to touch the soil, feeling no fear. His body has become a bridge between stillness and motion, between age and vitality. The stretch has done more than loosen muscles. It has opened space in his mind. He feels patience blooming there, the kind that accepts the slowness of growth, the pace of healing. He thinks of Lily, his neighbor, who practices with him sometimes. She laughs every time they wobble, calling it dancing with gravity. He loves that phrase, because that's what it feels like, not fighting the weight, but learning to flow with it. George takes another deep breath, feeling warmth ripple through his spine. His back feels longer, his steps more stable. He knows he will carry this ease into the rest of his day. Maybe when he ties his shoes, he'll remember this calm. Maybe when he leans to water his plants, he'll feel steady, supported. Every motion, however small, becomes a practice of presence. He understands now that healing doesn't always mean fixing. Sometimes it just means softening, meeting your limits with compassion instead of frustration. That's what the knee-to-toe bend has given him, awareness. A new respect for his body's quiet strength. He whispers to himself, "I'm not weaker, I'm wiser." And in that truth he finds peace. Because the real benefit isn't measured by how far he bends. It's measured by how deeply he feels alive while doing it. The stretch is just the beginning. The gift is everything it awakens inside him. George closes his eyes for a moment, smiling. He doesn't feel old. He just feels present, and that's more powerful than anything else. George stands still, feeling the air settle around him. The quiet hum of his breath fills the room. He can feel his heartbeat slowing, calm and steady. The movements are done, but the experience is not over. Now comes the part his body loves most, rest. He places one hand on the back of the chair, grounding himself. His feet press softly into the floor, strong and stable. He inhales deeply, letting the breath rise through his chest. He exhales slowly, allowing tension to fade like smoke. This is recovery, he thinks. Not just for muscles, But for the mind, he rolls his shoulders back and lets them drop gently. His arms hang loose by his sides. Every part of him feels lighter now, like the weight of years has softened. He closes his eyes and lets the silence stretch. In that stillness, his body begins to speak again, not in pain, but in gratitude. It's thanking him for the patience, for the care, for the time. He imagines warmth spreading through his legs, a golden glow from knees to toes. Then up his spine, lighting each vertebra one by one. It feels like sunlight inside him, peaceful and alive. He stands there quietly, breathing in the light. His lower back, once tight and stubborn, now feels open and calm. His hamstrings hum gently, no longer resisting, just resting. He realizes how powerful gentleness can be. The more he listens, the more his body trusts him. Healing isn't loud, he thinks. It happens in whispers. He remembers his first morning trying this movement. How unsure he was, how heavy his body felt. Now everything feels different, softer, lighter, connected. The knee-to-toe bend has become more than a stretch. It's a reminder that small effort can create great change. He opens his eyes slowly, the world coming back into focus. The light through the window has shifted, warmer now. He hears a bird outside, singing softly, as if keeping rhythm with his breath. He smiles because everything feels alive again. He takes one final deep breath. Inhale, calm. Exhale, release. He whispers to himself, thank you. Not just to his body, but to this quiet moment of care. He feels ready to move through his day with ease. Every step, every motion will carry a trace of this calm. And if stiffness returns, he knows what to do. He'll come back to his breath. He'll bend, he'll listen, he'll move gently again. Because healing isn't something that ends. It's something we practice, one mindful motion at a time. He walks toward the window, feeling the floor beneath his feet. The sunlight touches his face, warm and forgiving. He closes his eyes and smiles once more. Not because the pain is gone, but because peace has taken its place. And in that simple stillness, George feels whole again. The room is quiet now. The morning light has turned soft and golden. George sits back down, hands resting on his knees. His breath moves slow, steady, like a calm tide returning home. He feels the quiet strength that comes after gentle effort. His back feels lighter, his legs warm, his mind clear. He smiles without thinking, a smile born from peace. He realizes the knee-to-toe bend is not just an exercise. It's a reminder to treat his body like a friend, not a task. Each breath, each bend, has taught him patience again. He knows tomorrow he will move a little easier. He will rise with more trust in his body. He will bend not with fear, but with gratitude. Outside, the wind moves softly through the trees. It feels like the world is breathing with him. He whispers quietly, I'm still strong, just in a different way. And that truth settles deep in his chest. Every day is another chance to move with care. Every breath is a way back to balance. He closes his eyes one last time. And in that stillness he feels whole, calm, grounded, alive.